called the police station. They're in East Java. And I said, please just come pick me up. I'm giving up. It was either I'm gonna die while I'm trying to make it, or I'm gonna make it. We don't have to follow that like square A4 lifestyle, you know, going to a job 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. There's like, you can create your own. Behind the scenes, something else was going on. I just got this thought, I thought, is this fucking it? Yeah. It became like an obsession.
You're about to arrive at Gili Airport.
From being like super happy and celebrating to landing back in Europe, thinking, what the fuck have I done, you know?
This is a story of perseverance, persistence, and maybe a fair bit of the old I'm not giving up because I've done so much already.
Now we have arrived. Hi, my name is Martin and welcome to Lost Paradise.
Hi.
Robin.
Hi. Hi, Robin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Darshan. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Darshan.
Welcome.
I get to know Martin in Bali, where he, over pumping DJ music, shares his story with me. And the parts that I managed to hear are enough for me to realize that I need to make this film.
But come with me, please have a look. Yeah. So this is my sanctuary. This is where I feel the best. All the memories from all those years. This is where I like to be, where I find inner peace. I would say I had a very happy childhood. In the 80s, 90s, south of Sweden, countryside. My teenage years consisted of skateboarding, drinking beer, driving old Volvo cars. I had a really good group of friends. It's so much wood, like still so much, like all of this stuff. It's like you know, it's, you can feel it's like this is quality. This is good wood. A lot of memories in the wood. And these are actually kind of funny. Like I see these just have started growing. It's actually coconut trees. We can still move them, plant them somewhere, and they're going to grow up, look like this one. In like a year or two, we have our own coconuts. My dad, who passed away in 2006, he was actually quite strict. I believe he always wanted to make sure that like I turned into something, you know. And he always said like, whatever you choose to do, make sure to do it properly. And that's one thing I always been carrying with me. When I was in my late 20s, I had just gone through a couple of a little bit rough years. It made me thinking a lot. And I just got this thought. I thought, is this fucking it? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? So I resigned the day after and I went straight to the airport. I had like the old jacket on, I had a Visa card and my passport. That was the only things I had. So when I arrived at the airport, I took my jacket, I threw it in the bin and I was ready. I just had like shorts, a t-shirt, and I was flying to Bangkok. That was like my destination. From there it started, you know, building this kind of idea of this is actually where I want to be, where I want to be living. It has to be possible to create something on this side of the world. This became a routine. Every year I was working in hospitality in Norway. Every autumn I escaped to Southeast Asia for a couple of months. And I kept doing this for 5 years in a row. And on the 5th winter, when I was escaping, a door opened. I saw an opportunity, getting my hands on a piece of land in the Gili Islands outside of Bali. It was definitely not the most beautiful land I had seen. And for some reason I thought that was a really good idea. Land in Southeast Asia, that's the thing. I transferred all my savings. I signed something in a language I had no clue what I was signing. And shortly after that, I returned, flew back to Europe. And that's when it kind of hit me, what I had done. From being like super happy and celebrating to landing back in Europe, being completely broke with no job, no apartment, no money in the bank. Thinking, what the fuck have I done, you know?
It's 5:50 in the morning and I'm off to Canggu station, which is not really a station. But this as well, meet Martin, and we are going to take a shuttle bus somewhere and take a boat somewhere to go to Gili. Here we go. Good morning.
All right. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice to meet
The
you.
Gili Islands are 3 super tiny Indonesian islands with no motor traffic. I wanted to visit them during my previous 2 trips to Bali, but I never got around to it. So I'm excited to go now. I've only known Martin for about 2 days before we get into this car, but it already feels like we're sharing the same soul for some reason. He has this positive and humble aura around him, but there's also a contrarian side to him that shines through every once in a while.
Many of my friends told me like, yeah, just take a bank loan and you just like pay and you build this house. But I just decided not to do it like that. I decided, no, you know, I'm good at working. I'm like really good hard worker. I'm gonna do it myself. Just work really hard and save up to this. I'm gonna make it, do it all myself. Have you seen the view?
I could sit around and wait all day.
I made it really, really difficult for myself. I was working 3 full-time jobs at the same time in Norway. I had this Monday to Friday job like at a warehouse, and I took all the overtime I could every day, Monday to Friday. Friday afternoon, went straight to a restaurant. I worked Friday evening, the all of Saturday, Sunday at a restaurant. Plus I had a bartending nighttime job. It peaked somewhere around 450 hours a month. I saved the money, I returned, and that's when I built the first little teak joglo. Back then there was like definitely no road, there was no electricity, no water. We made like a well, but it was salt water. I just kept coming back and trying to like figure out like how to even build. Yes. At the time when I didn't have enough money for transportation costs, I cycled back and forth every day, brought bags of cement on the bicycle, cycling through the whole island, one by one, sometimes 2. The local families along the road, they're still laughing, they still remember the times. Sometimes I put like an iron rebar, 6 meter longs, like just tie them to my bicycle, cycling through the island. Many of these things were like quite unnecessary, but at the moment they were not. The first thing I made around the year 2010, a Javanese Joglo. I only had like a little bit of electricity going through like the hanging from the palm trees. So I could charge my phone, have a light bulb in the evening. This served as my home for like while we were building all the rest. Then I thought like, okay, this is good, you know, it's going somewhere. Now I have land and a house. Like that has to be good. I slept here for years while we were building. I was just working and working and working. I didn't spend any money on my own comfort or my own life. I had like a little mattress, a mosquito net. One night I found a cobra above my bed. Another night I just like had a huge wasp nest hanging here. I didn't even care. I love that house. It has some character, right?
Like 7 a.m. or something, and it's already hot here. What do you have here?
Tickets to the islands.
Very good. So what's your name? Robin. Nice to meet you. The boat team.
The more I talk to him, the more apparent it becomes that he is escaping something. What is it that lingers in the back of his mind?
How are you?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. You like this boat?
Yeah.
You come here often?
We both lost our dads unexpectedly in our mid-20s, and an event like that changes you in fundamental ways. And as men so often do, Instead of grieving, we nearly worked ourselves to death from our trauma responses. However, we did so in very different ways.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to arrive at Gili port.
We reached the island, reached the destination.
So we have arrived on Gili, my first time in a Gili Island. I'm excited. It looks beautiful. Got your stuff?
Let's go. I like the Joglo, the Balinese, the house with the little roof. Okay, that's what I want to have. After test building that little one, we just built this beautiful big Joglo right in the middle of the island, right? And that was kind of funny because when it was almost done, it's like a huge 240 square meter Indonesian house, but still no electricity, no water, nothing. I realized like it's completely useless, you know? But I realized like, okay, what is good in this island is accommodation. I'm gonna make like a little homestay. That's when I started building like this row of rooms. And so it was another building project that lasted like to save up the money and to build like another couple of years. We got a booking, and actually we had just finished this first one room. Still super weak electricity, just one light bulb hanging, a small fan in the corner, just this little house, little bungalow here. And the first guest happened to be one solo traveler, a girl, and I think when she arrived, I think she was very, very shocked. Piles of wood, sacks of cement. If you lifted a bag of cement, there was like a scorpion. At the other corner, there was like all the workers from Java sleeping. We gave her like top service, you know, serving coffee and fruit, and she was really fascinated by the whole project. So actually, we got like a top review from our first traveler, from our first guest.
This poor thing is our right. This is not vegan transport.
No. Baik.
Sekarang masih sepi sekarang.
So we have a lot of luggage. We just arrived in the islands. So we're making it a bit easier for ourselves with a little horse taxi. Now we have arrived.
Finally, welcome to Lost Paradise.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi.
Robin.
Hi.
Hi, Robin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Darshan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Darshan.
Welcome, welcome.
Shoes off. Find anything good on the menu?
A lot of good stuff.
Who wrote the menus?
I did.
So from buying the land, Martin builds this little resort all by himself through hard work and discipline. But as with all entrepreneurship, things aren't always glossy and easy, not even on a paradise island. The sand, the turquoise water and the palm trees, they lose their shine over time. And I get this sense that all this dedication to working isn't only because his vision is so strong. Thoughts about what has been given up and that it's not moving as fast as anticipated, and the overall stressfulness would take its toll on anybody in a similar situation.
Yeah, I had like a really dark period during these 10 years. Instead of being proud and happy, I just felt worse and worse about what I was doing. I felt really ashamed. I felt I was letting everyone down because I was very naive to think like it's going to be 1 or 2 years and I'm having something like successful. But instead, the years kept on going and I had nothing, like really nothing. From being super proud and had taken a big, gigantic leap to like just working too much, not having a life. I was like in this bubble, like a kind of just working, trying to make something out of it. It became like an obsession. It was either I'm gonna die while I'm trying to make it, or I'm gonna make it. It was like that was like the only thing that existed, like in my head. Such a mix of depressive thoughts and worry about everything, about the future, about my life choices. And it was like spiraling down into quite a deep depression, I would say. I just kept going, kept working. The journey, which should have been like this amazing adventure, behind the scenes, something else was going on. I don't think I had quite processed all those years after my dad's passing. That winter when I escaped to Southeast Asia, things started going well, but I think it all came back when I took all this on. In the beginning it was just fun, but after a while I realized, like, am I throwing away my life? Like, what am I doing, you know? There are some things I need to change. I spent so many years in the islands, and I associate it with so much work and hard times, so I'm very, very happy to be on the mainland Bali. Welcome. This is where I hang out, do some work, some music. Yeah. Some plans for the future. Wait, give me one sec. So I still do. I used to journal a lot. I had all these plans, checklists, everything. I love doing checklists. But now it's kind of sometimes easier to just put it there, wipe it out when it's done. At some point I thought I would never be I would die before I finish it. So I haven't, until this day, I still haven't really showed it to my old friends. I've been working and it's this close to be finished. I didn't even tell my mom. I kept it secret for 10 years. I knew that if I told her, it would be like, oh my God, Martin, what the fuck are you doing, you know?
Sama dia. Di mana dia? Di dalam. Iya. Astaga, aku mau ajar. Iya, astaga. Kamu yakin? Tahu itu pasti odan ya.
I went to deep Java. I started learning about wood, approaching like carpenters. So all this wood is recycled secondhand, like all the famous wood types like merbau, ulin, pangkirai, like all those, they're famous in the tropics. Super hard, super high quality woods. All of that was such an adventure, you know. It's easy to forget, but back then, just riding in a truck through the jungles, through the night, it was such an adventure. The wood had already arrived, usually in Java, and we collected it there with big trucks. And then the whole journey was, we had to go to East Java, a town called Banyuwangi. You cross the strait to Bali. Then you cross all of Bali. Take another ferry to south of Lombok, and then you have to drive up to the northwest of Lombok. Offload it on the beach, arrange with the little boats, people loading boats, offloading in the islands. And in the islands, people with horses and horse carts help bring it all the way here. And there were a few incidents, really, really bad incidents. There was especially one crazy one. I was sitting in the truck, super tired, after everything that had happened that day. And I saw something just moving outside the window. I thought, okay. It took me a while to realize, but it was basically the electrical poles falling down. because we had loaded so high. So we had caught the fucking wire, and it was pulling down like all the poles along the way, and there was like sparks everywhere. And I thought, okay, maybe this, like when I take the handle, maybe I'm gonna get electrocuted. We opened, all good, jumped out, and I saw like the devastation. We had like pulled out electricity from like an entire sardine and shrimp factory. Basically pulled like 1 kilometer of cables, and there were like thousands of workers like running out, you know, like super angry. That was the only time when I like considered like giving up. I had like so much of my budget on that big truck and all that devastation. So I just walked, I sat like in a ditch. I called the police station there in East Java. And I said, please come, just come pick me up. I'm giving up. But luckily they never showed up. They probably didn't know where I was. Even I had no idea where I was, just sitting there in that ditch. But then after a while, like the driver like called me, and and they had like cut it loose, and so we jumped up and we went, and we arrived safely with all the material. Yeah. The language and the culture. I feel it goes like hand in hand. As soon as when you start speaking the language, it's much more easier to like understand the entire culture and the people.
Pulang, saya sudah 3 hari.
Selamat jalan ya.
Makasih Bu, makasih. Sampai jumpa ya.
We're heading to the beach.
Now when I have like my friends from Jakarta, Indonesian friends, they are always laughing at me.
Good morning.
Because I really I sound Indonesian, and I speak very much like an old carpenter from Java.
Where are we going?
We're going to Lombok. How about it?
To understand the effort required to transport building materials in this region, we go on a little trip to Bangsal on Lombok, the big island next door. This was Martin's final stop for reloading supplies from trucks onto small boats. And rather than going for the fancy tourist boats, I want to travel like the locals do. It's an experience I absolutely love. The vibrant colors, the symphony of sounds, and the atmosphere of people commuting. Just like on the subway back home, but in this magical setting. It's funny how people are just people, commuting and going about their day, no matter where you are.
Yeah. I live like a local, I speak like a local, and definitely helps. As soon as wherever you go now in the Indonesian, the islands, as soon as you like start, people are just happy, you know.
Where are we now?
Oh, so we just arrived in Lombok, in Bangsal, northwest Lombok. Well, I remember it mostly from the time when I was shipping. Even now when I see Lost Paradise, it's like every piece of wood, every like...
Hello. Do you want to go spot?
Tidak. Nanti mau lagi pulang. Para mobil.
This guy was so confused by Martin speaking the language.
Yeah.
Putting that much work into it, it definitely gives like every piece of wood and all the material like its own story.
Do we go to the ticket office or the official ticket office?
It's more people waiting in the official one.
Yeah.
Pulang dua kayak terawang. Terima kasih. Masih tunggu berapa orang?
Lombok, check. Okay, so now we've spent the whole day seeing Lombok, all the things it has to offer, and
Waterfalls, adventures, monkeys, everything.
yeah, we saw everything on Lombok. And now it's time to go back to Gili tea. Just joking. We spent 5 minutes having a coffee in the port here.
Yeah, it was nice coffee though.
But now I've been to Lombok.
When I had all the workers from Java, they didn't speak a word of English, not one word. And that's when we were sitting in the evenings, the workers and me, and drinking coffee. And I was really, really trying hard to understand. And I heard them like all the time. They were repeating this word. They were like saying sulit. And I thought, sulit. Oh, that's like English, solid. That's a good word, when we're building. Because I like everything to be very like solid. So I started using it. Like, how is this looking? And I said, it's good, but please make it like more solid. And they were like, oh yeah, okay. And they started like, carving out like really like, it was definitely not solid. It was kind of weird because they were definitely like working hard, but it was never really solid enough. I started realizing like after like 6 months, okay, I have to look that word up. Sulit in Indonesian actually means difficult, complicated. So what I was telling them, they say, is this good? And I said, no, make it more like complicated. So I want to apologize to all those workers back then. I hope they now have easier jobs.
I have new ideas all the time, but knowing how much time I would have to spend to execute them stops me from doing that. Just imagining spending 15 years on a single one make my fear of commitment rising red flags all over. But what if I, just like Martin, didn't know that it was gonna take that long? Would I have kept going? Well, probably. This is commitment bias and sunk cost fallacy playing tricks on our brains. We think, I've already invested so much, so I can't quit now. Our minds are hardwired to think this way. I'm fascinated by the endurance of overcoming all of the obstacles along the way, and everything he's sacrificed over the years. Martin is an impact maker, and his journey inspires me. Not that I would like to do the same thing, but it demonstrates how you can do anything you want in this life. Sometimes it involves big risks, and that's okay because the cost of not doing what you truly desire are far greater. I'm curious what drives him forward, never giving up and constantly finding those extra bits of energy, even when his reserves seem depleted. What keeps him going, and where does he go from here?
Am I the crazy one, Why am I the only one thinking that this is going to work out and that this is good? I want to be able to show everyone and inspire everyone that it is possible. Whatever you set your mind to, you can create it. To just give the middle finger to these societal norms. There is another way. We don't have to follow that square A4 lifestyle, going to a job 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. It's you can create your own reality. The last thing was to prove to myself that I could do it. I learned a lot about myself. That is what I value the most. All of these lessons, life lessons, and all of this experience that I have now kind of opened up for the next chapters in life. Towards the end of this project, I was so tired. So I thought, okay, once this is up and running, my main priority has to be to make it run by itself. I have an amazing team, an amazing guys looking after a place as if it was their own. First, I tried to just distance myself for a couple of hours. I tried to distance myself for a day, 3 days, a week. I feel I'm just a guest. Sometimes I even feel like I'm in the way a little bit for them to be able to make their... I just have to stay away. I have to be like a guest in the background. Skål! It was definitely not a certainty for up until now. So now when I got the chance to move to the mainland Bali, it's just something I needed. I'm never going to do the mistake again to put myself last. I have to always remember my own health, both mental and physical. Make sure to stay healthy, happy, and work hard. I made up my mind, made the decision on day one when I started this project. I'm not going to go into a relationship before this is finished. Naively, I was thinking, okay, this is 1 or 2 years. But since I was so stubborn, now we are on the 13th year, and I'm still single. But I think I needed it, go through this phase, these years, to kind of find myself. and get ready for like the next chapter, which hopefully is a lot of exciting things, including a family. And I'm now, instead of like kind of worrying, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. I know how to do it.
Nu är det komplett.
Ja, det är det, va?
So instead of like going into the next adventure with uncertainty, now I just go, and I'm gonna enjoy every second of it.
In this documentary series, I interview 100 impact makers about what drives them to make positive change around the world. And this might actually become my own 15-year project, but I don't know that yet. The goal is to show how these incredible humans use their skills to make positive change and inspire others to do the same thing. My hope is that this will create some sort of ripple effect of love that can act as a counterweight in this often very hard, cold world that we are facing today. So if you would like to support this project, there is a link to Patreon right here or in the description. And now let's move on to the outtakes, where I ask Martin probably the most important question of this entire interview. My dad died in 2007 actually.
Oh yeah?
He was running his own business for most of my life, and I started running my own business after he died, just like a year after. I've always felt this, like, I would so much want him to see what I have done.
Yeah.
Do you have that same feeling?
I have the exact one, and that's been like a motivation, a strong like supporting fact. One that I know that he would always support me. Like even this choice that I made to pursue this crazy journey, he would support it. And number two, since I took it on, I was not going to like disappoint him. But of course, he passed away long before I even taken on this journey. Yeah.
Do you think he would be proud now?
I'm sure. Maybe he wouldn't even like have expected it from his son. I might have had surprised him, I think. And the cool thing is I still have the opportunity to actually show my mom what I have done. You know, I kept it a secret from her for 10 years. And I always thought that like, I'm going to make it, I'm going to surprise her. But after 10 years, I couldn't hold it a secret anymore when COVID arrived. So I actually took photos. I made like a album that I gave her and showed her what, like, Mom, this is what I have been working on for the past 10 years.
And what was her reaction?
I think relief. I think she was so relieved. And she got like new hope to see that her son is not a complete failure, you know. And I think she was proud. I think she was very, very proud. This one means a lot to me. I named it after my really, really good old friend, Stefan Hofbauer. So this is Bungalow Hofbauer. This one, after a really good old friend, Jacob Portefeuille. So this is Bungalow Portefeuille. So each one is named after like a good friend that followed me throughout the journey.
Har vi den? Ja, jag tror det.